Hey there! Welcome to the What's Your Thing podcast, where we're all about great conversations with interesting people.
That's right. I'm Brennan.
And I'm Caitlin.
There's something awesome about every person, a thing that makes them truly unique.
We want to know what it is about everyone, so we're asking,
What's your thing?
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the What's Your Thing podcast, episode 33. It's been a little while, Caitlin. We've been on hiatus, enjoying the summer weather.
Yeah. Have you been enjoying a slushie or a popsicle?
Oh God, is my tongue blue?
Your tongue is blue.
It's so embarrassing. This is like my fourth one in like 3 days. Actually, my wife doesn't know that I bought this one. It's the worst thing ever. I went to they had this little thing on the weekend, like kind of a fair thing for my wife's work, and they had a food truck. They had a machine that sold cotton candy, slush puppies, and popcorn. And I think I dummied like three snow cones, and then had to go for a slushie, and then went for another one. I don't know. I should probably get my blood sugar tested because I've been on a slushie kick. But yeah, no. Aside from vacation, what's going on with you, Caitlin?
Been working on launching Uplight Academy.
Yes.
Mayanne has been working with me. She's doing all the social media.
Awesome. Well, that's the reason we're here today. We have very special guest. Thank you for joining us, man. She's in the room with Caitlin right now. You got something cool going for yourself, something that I'm absolutely like terrified of and unfamiliar with, but you're going to tell us all about today. You're a model, correct?
Yes, I am.
Cool. Well, that's where we're going to jump into. I just tell us what your thing is. What's modeling to?
So basically, I'd say modeling to me is like my everything. It's kind of like built me. Like my confidence is because of modeling. My love for photography is because of modeling. My love for fashion is because of modeling. It's basically like sculpted my life and my interests. Yeah.
So how do you get into that, especially Ottawa? You know, we talk to Caitlin all the time about the movie industry and just like entertainment in general is constantly growing, but like specifically modeling, how do you find your way into that?
I was actually really young. I was 3 or 4 years old when I was scouted by a modeling agency in Ottawa, and they asked me to join their roster, and I kind of did more child modeling. So I did stuff with EQ Homes, I did stuff with Saint Laurent Fashion Week stuff, Bayshore fashion. Oh my goodness. And basically just that smaller stuff. And then I took a break from modeling to do sports. And then now that I'm older and kind of getting to the point where I'm going to be able to do more modeling content, then I hop back into it. Yeah.
So people tend to think, at least I shouldn't say for people, but I feel like I'm asking a general question here that a lot of people think about. There's like, when people think of modeling, I think you think runway or something like that, or just like photography.
Yeah.
It's a big industry, right? Can you give us some examples of the different type?
So there's editorial, which is like commercial and like magazine. And then we have runway, which is like, you think of like runway, you know, your typical modeling. You have kind of your generic, so your lifestyle modeling. So this is either homes or like just like retirement homes, like stuff like that. And then you have fitness modeling as well. And that's actually kind of its own category because a lot of fitness models usually can't be runway models.
And Brennan, you and I can't be any of those.
And a lot of models.
I just accepted a contract in hair care for men.
Oh,
I'll model toupees.
yeah, and a lot of the times the models who are a little bit shorter who can't do runway do the stuff like that's editorial, so like commercial magazines, all that stuff.
So is it kind of like acting where you just get the opportunity to audition and you just go for everything at the beginning and then find your niche based on what you're good at? Or did you kind of come into this after you said you stepped away and came back into it? Did you come back at it with like, no, I want to focus on this type? Or is it kind of just, I'm going to break through and get my name out there and take everything for now?
Well, at first, because of my younger age, I had to do more of like the generic stuff. So like the lifestyle and like the more kids clothing and more just kids modeling. But since I'm getting closer to 18, like I'm 1 year from 18. So once I open that door, I'll be able to do almost any type of modeling if I wish to do it. Like, for example, I do bathing suit modeling, and that's even at this point a little bit controversial because a lot of people get a little bit risky when it comes to what is appropriate and what isn't, but it's all based off what the model wants and like kind of like the respect and contract that goes through with it as well.
Okay, yeah, I would that definitely would be. With respect to like, I guess you said you're going to be 18. Are you looking at staying Ottawa, or would you like? Is there a hub in Canada from like bigger than Ottawa, or would you consider
Oh,
going
I want to go
stateside?
overseas. I don't
Okay.
want to be in Canada. I want to do stuff overseas.
Overseas, like Asia,
Yeah,
Europe,
Asia, Europe, that type of audience. Yeah.
So what do you think? Where would somebody who's 18 go if they're not in Canada? What would be your start?
Tokyo or
Really?
France or Italy.
I feel like Japan would be a cool place to go for any kind of avenue. But yeah, if you're right in the heat of things there, that'd be pretty sweet. What's obviously like if you're a student and everything like that, balancing I remember when I tried acting when I was younger, it was a challenge just to like you're going to school, you're trying to be a regular kid, and then all of a sudden on Wednesday night you get a call and it's like, hey, you got an audition in Montreal Friday at 11. It's tough.
Yeah.
It was tough on my mom, my family, just to be like, somebody I couldn't drive, somebody's got to drive me there for the first little bit. It definitely strains on relationships from my perspective. Did you have the same sort of challenges? What's been the biggest challenge kind of keeping up? Is it finding work, or is it just keeping up with the work and balancing work life, school kind of thing? What's your biggest
Um,
challenge?
I'd say at first it was a lot. I was missing a lot of sports, and that's like when I was younger, before I rejoined, I was missing a lot of sports, and at the time sports were my everything. So that kind of really disappointed me. The school balance wasn't too bad because I wasn't in high school yet, but since rejoining and I'm in well, this year I was in grade 11, the work was a bit lighter just because there wasn't a lot going on in Ottawa and I was already traveling a lot. So I had to miss a lot of modeling events. Like in June, I went to Italy and I missed 3 modeling events just from that. So I kind of just decided to take a step back a little bit until I finish high school and then do my university and modeling at the same time. But to answer your question, my biggest kind of like thing that happened, I'd say my setback, I'd say finding work because it's a little bit difficult at this age since I'm 17 and a lot of agencies or clients are kind of like iffy about working with a 17-year-old just because of the contract about like you have to be, it's better to be 18 in North America. In places like Asia or Europe, they're a lot more like they'll let it fly, if that makes sense. Like there's a lot of models who are 16 who are doing like kind of interesting work, if you know what I mean. Like nothing inappropriate. It's just in North America, we would be like, sorry, your cat was
He's
just
trying to model for you
He's
right
just
now. Like,
modeling his
yeah,
full.
the chat is definitely doing some
I was
risque
trying so hard
modeling
to
as
stay
we speak.
serious there.
Yeah, like look at this guy. He's just like he is a model. Like I should get him into like
Yeah, you should. I have
Whiskas
competition.
commercials or
Yeah.
something like that. No, I that makes sense, and I think it's just like given that the nature of like it's I would say probably outside of well, actually I wouldn't know, but like most modeling is probably done by adults, so like it would be like difficult to come with contracts, and keep everything's above board. But you said you've been doing it for a long time. I mean, if you said you started when you were a kid, how has it changed a lot since you started? Because I imagine like the rise, look at this guy, the rise of social media and stuff like that has probably changed the focus of where you're putting like
Oh, absolutely.
advertising out there, right? Like everything's probably more internet based now than it was 20 years ago. Is that how has your perspective changed on what you would do when you were a kid and where you're at now?
Just based off age, I find modeling is a lot more about the money now and not about enjoyment. When I was younger, I would just love to, and don't get me wrong, I still love to be in the front of the camera and doing my work. That's my favorite part. But I feel like just because I'm starting to get to the age where money actually is more important, I find that I just have to take it a lot more seriously, and it's not just like just a straight passion anymore. It's more of like a job, if that makes sense.
And yeah, that does make sense, and that actually leads into the next question. So, with the prediction for the future of this, like, is it something you still like? You're passionate about, you love? Like, are you going to look at it like, I can get an opportunity to pay for university? Or you said you were big into sports. Is this something you'd like to continue in like full time going forward, or is it kind of something that you're always going to keep as a side thing? Do you have any aspirations outside of it?
I believe that I will be doing this in the future because I think that's where I'm going to get more opportunities. I don't necessarily think it's going to be my whole life, though. I do want to go to school. I do want to go to university because growing up, my mom's, you're not just looks, man. You have so much more potential than that. And I definitely believe in myself and will stick to that. Like, I actually want to be a lawyer.
Oh, that's cool.
So
Very cool.
I will be using modeling for funding for law school and all those things. And I didn't answer one part of your question before,
Yeah.
but I believe that when it comes to like where I put my content and stuff, because you mentioned social media and like that difference. When I was younger, I was doing a lot more like physical copy stuff. Like I would be in the EQ homes, if that makes sense. But now a lot of my modeling is like on Instagram or like a lot of that content is online. So compared to like childhood and now, yeah.
Yeah, okay. That makes sense. That seems to be where the industry is going, right? Like it's even you look at podcasts and stuff like that. People used to watch late night TV for or like was it Caitlin TVO back in the day, or
Mhm.
PBS used to have all these interview shows, and now it's like who are the biggest in the world, right? They're found on YouTube, and then if you like them enough, they jump over to Spotify and you're watching episodes. So that makes perfect sense. Everything seems to be trending in that direction. And that's
Especially
cool what you said. You said a law, like I don't know where you plan on going, but I did crim at Carleton and I absolutely loved it. That's obviously like you can before you go to law school. I wasn't smart enough for that. I took like 20 questions on the bar exam just as like a thing in class, and I think I got 5 of them right. So good
oh,
for you if you can handle that.
thank you.
Um,
Yeah.
what would surprise people the most about your experience in this? Because you have a lifetime of it. Like for going back to the initial questions I asked at the beginning, a lot of people are like, "Hey, is modeling runway? Is it posing for a camera? Is it doing whatever?" What would surprise people the most about modeling for someone who knows nothing about it?
I would say how inconsistent it can be and how the life of a model actually is. Everyone thinks your ideal model has this perfect eating schedule, perfect sleep schedule, perfect skincare routine. I'm not gonna even lie to you, I don't even wash my face that often. I know I should.
And she doesn't wear sunscreen.
I'm
Yeah,
allergic to sunscreen. I'm
my
allergic.
mom, our mom would have made you. She would have been like, "Forget allergies."
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't have a strict diet. I am very sensitive when it comes to that because I believe that I should just be natural. I have actually refused a gig before because they wanted me to go on a certain diet because I was too muscle. And
Oh,
I'm very proud of my muscle because, I work out, I played sports, and I'm not gonna change myself for that. I'm gonna
Caitlin,
be
don't you wish we had that problem?
Yeah. Yeah. I
So
heard you're too much.
you
I have
you
you're too muscle.
hey, good for you. You obviously work for it, but I would love for a modeling agent to come up to me and be like, "Hey, man, you got way too much muscle. You got to tone it down." Instead of my doctor being like, "Hey, buddy, you got too much of a belly.
It's just
Maybe
for
put down the slushies."
for women, having too much muscle can be a little bit of a disadvantage just because society, that's another thing too. Society's perspective of modeling is completely different from what it actually is. Like everyone thinks we're these perfect, skinny Victoria's Secret models, and don't get me wrong, they're beautiful, but not everyone's a Victoria's Secret model, and that is perfectly okay. So
Has it not changed though in the last few years? You're seeing like a lot more body positivity and like there's the emergence of like plus size models being more of a main thing as opposed to before it was like it sound I don't know if it's true, but it sounded like it was pretty nasty back in the day where, like you said, people had to be
oh,
a certain way and they were expected
oh,
to
it
be a
was
certain way. Now
horrible.
it seems to be more celebrate who you are and promote who you are. Is that fair to say it's trending that direction?
It is, very fortunately, it is. Like back in the day, like it was only white blonde models. Like brunettes were still kind of like looked frowned upon too. It was very, very strict about like height, weight, and what you like visually look like. But nowadays it's very accepting, and that I love to see that for the community just based off job opportunities and everything. But yeah, it has definitely changed for the better in my opinion.
That's
Because
like a global victory too, I think. Like if everybody's just a little bit more proud to be who they are and like less because it is true. Like I think there's a lot, and I can only imagine like you being in this industry, like you've seen it worse than anybody else. But even going out, like Caitlin, you can probably attest to this, like going out to a nice event, like do I look good enough? If I like, is it like, am I wearing the right thing? Like blah blah blah. Versus like that's your job and you got to put it out there and you're expected to look a certain way all the time. It's kind of nice that we live more in an accepting society, I guess is the term, but it's more of a realistic society where it's like, hey, just be proud of who you are. Everybody's different. Everybody looks different.
There's still
Um,
a
yeah,
oh
go
sorry.
ahead.
There's still
No,
a very like kind of like models are viewed like, for example, let's just say I don't like to tell people right away that I do modeling, just because the moment I say that, people their ear kind of like wakens up, if you know what I mean. They kind of start to assume, oh, so you're rich, so
uh,
basically buy me whatever I want, or all that stuff, right? And it's just people have such a like sometimes another sorry, I'm like have 40 million thoughts going through my head right
oh,
now.
please.
So a lot of people have this thing where they say, if you're a model, you have to be perfect. And it's still happening till this day. You could be any race, any size, but you still have that thing where people think, oh, you have to be perfect. So no matter what body type you are, people are still going to be hard on you, no matter what. And that's something that I've had to struggle with, like growing up as well, especially in the industry. People have been in my ear about the way I look and all this stuff. So it's definitely taken like a toll on my mental health, which
Is
is
it,
why
is it fair to, is
I'm
it fair to say that's not even just regional too? Like there's other areas of the world that are probably much more
oh,
aggressive
there's
than
like North
Canada.
America is like a lot better compared to places like in Asia. Like a lot of they get so hated on over there. Like I feel like so bad. I feel so bad for them.
But I feel like I've read like horror stories about like K-pop stars and stuff like that and all the stuff that they've been put through. So I can only imagine. But that's
And especially because those cultures tend to try to look a lot like North American models just based off marketing. And they feel like they have to look like North American models to feel accepted or get more gigs, even though everyone should be able to just be beautiful how they are.
that's a phenomenal message. And that's pretty cool. Like yeah, as we said earlier, I don't think this is an avenue I don't think I could ever take at this point in my life, but you never know. Good for you. That's pretty cool. You seem to have a really well put together attitude about the whole thing, and it's neat that you've done it your whole life, but you've kind of been able to ground yourself because I could see even with the limited experience I had, and it's different. Acting was different from. There's a lot of people that I was around that were working constantly, and it kind of overtook them, and I felt terrible for them because they didn't get to experience the normal childhood
Yeah.
versus always being around these adults and these people in the industry that are like, I don't know, they just seemed above their age, but at a loss for they never got to experience their age. And it
It's like
seems
a
like you're very well
puppet.
put together.
It
And that's
controls
that's
your mind, that lifestyle. And it's definitely something I've had to learn is to be able to be a kid. And I remember when I was younger, I felt that was being taken away from me because the type of gigs I'd start to get were not the gigs that an 8-year-old should be doing. That's more of like a 16, 17-year-old. And I was like, I just want to live my life. And that's something my mom really pushed because she said, Mayanne, you can do that your whole adult life. You can't be a kid for that long. You can be adult for a lot longer than you are a kid, and you are a kid at heart. So you have to live that until you have to be an adult.
good
And
for your mom.
that's
That's awesome. It's really nice to hear that, like, especially with like the people you hear the stories from back in the day. It's nice that like you have grounded parents, and then you can kind of like say
Mhm.
like, you know what, I'm doing this for now, and then when time comes, if you want to step away, and then maybe even become that lawyer. That's pretty cool. So we heard about your modeling experience, which thank you very much for sharing that with us. What's is there anything cool outside of that you could share or would like to share? Do you have any cool hobbies or anything outside of
Um,
that? You said you're an athlete.
yes, I was a very, very athletic kid growing up, but unfortunately, I found out that I have a connective tissue disorder. So I
Oh,
had to step back from sports because of the amount of injuries and pain I'd get in because of it.
oh,
So
sorry to hear that.
it's okay.
That's
It's part of life, part of who I am. And I have to grow with it. So
you mentioned photography. Do you do photography as well?
I am usually the one in front of the camera,
Yeah,
but
okay.
I am not.
Yeah.
but I sometimes do behind, mostly when it comes to my friends. I love hanging out with friends. You're talking about hobbies. I love hanging out with friends. I love being outside. So whether that's swimming, in the forest, biking, running. I can't really fully run. Well, I can run, but it just hurts after a while. But I still do track. I still do volleyball. I do swim. I'm a lifeguard and a bunch of instructors for a bunch of different sports. That's a whole other life right there. But I'd say I still keep myself busy. You know, this summer I'm literally by her side, like all the time, filming
That's
Yeah,
stuff for
that's
Uplight.
busy for sure.
she's
I
behind the camera, but as much as we can, we've decided we're gonna put her on camera for any social media that can be her.
let the professionals do the professional work.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, thank you so much for sharing that with us. It's a pretty cool experience. It's something I've, as I said, like it's very, very niche, but it seems like you probably know a lot of people in your community, but it's nice that you came on here and shared it with everybody else. And yeah, I hope you're enjoying working with Caitlin. She's
Thank you.
she's
I
pretty
am.
cool. I can speak to that, but I'm busy, so I can only imagine you guys are busy all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But thank you for coming on and sharing your experience. Is there anywhere that you recommended people? We've had casting directors on. Where would people get their start? Just real quick, if somebody wanted to get into modeling, is there anything you'd say get out there?
I would say that get your digitals, get your runway walk, get your measurements and all that, and just start submitting online to
Cool.
modeling agencies. And it doesn't matter, like in Ottawa, there's only a few agencies here, but submit to Toronto, submit to Vancouver. Those are the kind of like the main cities for like activity like this. And if you do have like stuff in the States that you could work with, then definitely go to the States too.
Awesome.
And Mayanne, where can we find you on Insta?
Mayanne _CK, MAYANNE_CK.
Cool.
Check her out. She's got thousands of followers.
Yes.
Awesome.
Well, thank you
you
for
so much.
having me. I
Yeah, thanks for
appreciate
coming on and
that.
sharing your experience. That's pretty cool. As wish you all the best in the future, and you'll be working with Caitlin, but keep the channel updated. Well, hope you get
Thank
your
you.
big break, and good luck with everything going forward.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
What's
Bye.
the thing? Episode 33. If you like this content, please like and subscribe and share it with your friends, and we'll have more awesome guests on in the future. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
So make sure to check us out, whatsyourthingpod.com. Check us out on Instagram, YouTube, follow us on TikTok. Check us out. We're going to have a blast. What's your thing?
What's she being?